There's a test your doctor probably never gave you, but it might predict how long you live better than your cholesterol panel. It's not a blood test, it's not an MRI, it's this. Can you sit down on the floor and stand back up without using your hands? Researchers in Brazil tracked over 2,000 adults for years using exactly this movement. And what they found should scare you a little. People who couldn't do it lost points on a 10-point scale. And for every single point lost, their risk of dying early went up by 21%. I'm Dr. Romalia, and today I'm going to show you the squat to stand routine that women in Okinawa, Japan, the longest living women on earth, do without even thinking about it. Stick around because by the end of this video, you're going to test yourself, and you might be surprised by what your hips are already telling you. Before we get into the routine, let me tell you why this isn't just another stretch for 5 minutes video. For the last several decades, scientists have been studying a small group of islands in southern Japan called Okinawa. It's one of the original 5 blue zones, regions where people don't just live long, they live well. Okinawan women in particular have some of the longest life expectancies recorded anywhere in the world. And here's the detail almost nobody talks about. Researchers who study Okinawan centenarians noticed something strange. These are people in their 90s and 100s who still sit on the floor for meals, for tea, for conversation, and they get up and down off that floor unaided dozens of times a day. No couch, no recliner, no chair to push off from, just hips, knees, ankles, and core doing the work over and over every single day of their lives. Now compare that to how most of us in the United States live. We wake up, sit on the edge of a bed, sit in a car, sit at a desk for 8 hours, sit on a couch at night. The average American adult sits for more than 9 hours a day. Our hips have essentially forgotten how to do the one movement they were built to do. And that's the problem I want to talk to you about today, because this isn't just about flexibility. It's about something much bigger. So let's talk about the actual science, because I don't want you taking my word for it. In a landmark study out of Rio de Janeiro, exercise physician Dr. Claudio Gil Arajo studied over 2,000 men and women between the ages of 51 and 80. He gave them a simple test: sit down on the floor and stand back up using as little support as possible. Every time you used a hand, a knee, or the side of your leg, you lost points off a 10-point scale. Then his team followed these people for years. The results were striking. People who scored low, using multiple points of support just to sit and rise, had 2 to 5 times the risk of dying during the study period compared to people who scored high. And in a more recent expansion of this research, the risk of cardiovascular death specifically was up to 6 times higher in the lowest scorers. Now, I want to be careful here because correlation is not causation. This test isn't measuring squatting in isolation, it's measuring a combination of leg strength, balance, coordination, and flexibility all at once. But that's actually the point. The sit-to-stand movement is a single test that captures multiple markers of physical resilience simultaneously. It's a mirror reflecting your overall functional fitness. Here's what's happening in your body when you do a deep squat like this. Separate research on aging and squat biomechanics has shown that after about age 45, something predictable starts happening. Hip flexion patterns shift, ankle mobility decreases, and people start relying more on their lower back and hips to compensate for stiffer ankles and knees. In other words, if you don't use this range of motion, your body quietly starts taking it away from you. Not overnight, gradually, until one day, getting up off the floor to play with a grandchild feels like a genuine athletic event. That's the use it or lose it principle, and it's exactly what Okinawan elders avoid, simply by living a lifestyle where floor sitting and squatting are unavoidable, daily, built into the culture. Now, I specifically want to talk to the women watching this because hip mobility carries some extra weight for you, literally and figuratively. As estrogen declines through perimenopause and menopause, women experience accelerated changes in bone density, connective tissue elasticity, and pelvic floor support. The Okinawa centenarian research actually highlights this directly. Okinawan elders, including women, were found to have roughly half the risk of hip fracture compared to North Americans of the same age. Half. A deep, controlled squat pattern does something most isolated stretches can't. It loads the hip joint through its entire range of motion, not just stretching the muscles around it, but training the connective tissue, improving joint lubrication through movement, and strengthening the glutes, adductors, and deep core stabilizers that support pelvic alignment. This isn't about chasing a perfect ass-to-grass Instagram squat. It's about restoring a movement pattern your body was designed to use every day. One that, when neglected, contributes to the stiffness, the lower back pain, and the loss of independence so many women start to notice in their 40s, 50s, and beyond. So with that foundation, let's get into the actual routine. Here's what I'm going to walk you through in the next 10 minutes. First, a self-assessment, so you know exactly where your hips stand right now. And yes, we're doing the actual sit-rise test together. Second, a 5-step Okinawan-inspired warm-up sequence to prepare your joints safely. Third, the full squat to stand routine, broken into 3 progressions depending on your current mobility level. And finally, I'll show you how to build this into a daily habit that takes less than 5 minutes. Stay with me because the self-test alone is going to tell you something important about your body in the next 60 seconds. Let's do this together. Clear a space, and if you have any knee, hip, or balance condition, please don't attempt this without your doctor's clearance. Use a chair or wall for support instead, and just watch for now. Here's how the test works. Standing barefoot, you're going to lower yourself to a seated position on the floor, then rise back up using as little support as possible. Every time you use a hand, your knee, or the side of your leg for support going down, you lose a point. Same coming back up. The scale goes from 0 to 10. 5 points for sitting, 5 for standing. Try it now, right where you are. Pause the video if you need to. If you scored a 10, congratulations. Your hips, core, and balance are working beautifully together. If you scored somewhere in the middle, that's incredibly common, and it's actually good news because this is one of the most trainable things about your body. And if you needed multiple points of support, please don't panic and please don't feel discouraged. This number is not a verdict. It's a starting point. The entire reason I'm making this video is because this is reversible. Before we touch a deep squat, we warm up the joints, exactly the way physical therapists recommend before any deep mobility work. This takes 90 seconds. Don't skip it. Move 1, ankle circles, 10 each direction, each foot. Your ankles need to bend for your hips to squat safely. If your ankles are stiff, your lower back pays the price. Move 2, gentle hip circles, hands on hips, 10 each direction. Move 3, standing leg swings, holding a wall or chair if needed, 10 per leg, forward and back. Move 4, shallow bodyweight squats, just a quarter of the way down, 10 reps to wake up the muscles before we go deeper. That's it, 90 seconds and your joints are ready. Now for the main routine. I'm going to give you 3 levels. Pick the one that matches where you are today, not where you want to be in 6 months. Progress comes from consistency, not from forcing depth you're not ready for. Level 1, supported squat to stand. If you scored low on the self-test or you have any joint sensitivity, start here. Stand in front of a sturdy chair, countertop, or door frame. Hold on lightly with both hands. Lower yourself down into a squat, only as deep as feels controlled, no pain, and pause for 2 seconds at the bottom. Then push through your heels and stand back up. Do 5 to 8 repetitions. The goal here isn't depth. The goal is control. You are reteaching your nervous system that this movement is safe. Level 2, assisted deep squat. Once level 1 feels easy and pain-free for a week or two, we add depth. Hold on to a door frame or sturdy support with one or both hands and lower into a deeper squat, heels staying on the ground if possible. Hold for 3 to 5 seconds at the bottom. Feel the stretch through your hips and ankles. Not sharp pain. Discomfort is fine. Sharp pain is not. Rise back up slowly, controlled. 6 to 10 repetitions. This is where Okinawan elders live, functionally speaking. This exact range, used daily for things like gardening, low tables, and floor seating. Level 3, full unassisted squat to stand. This is the goal we're building toward. No support, full range, controlled tempo. Feet roughly shoulder width apart, toes slightly turned out. Lower all the way down, hips below knee level if your mobility allows, heels flat. Pause. Then drive up through your whole foot to standing, fully unaided. 8 to 10 repetitions, 3 to 4 times a week. A few coaching cues that matter more than people realize. Keep your chest reasonably upright. Don't let your knees cave inward, and breathe. Inhale on the way down, exhale as you push up. If your heels lift off the ground, that's a sign of tight ankles, and that's exactly why we did the ankle warm-up. Over time, as ankle mobility improves, your heels will stay grounded. And one more thing, speed doesn't matter here. Slow and controlled builds far more strength and joint stability than fast and sloppy. I want to pause and be honest with you because that's what a real health resource should do. Not everyone should jump straight into a deep squat. If you have a knee or hip replacement, osteoarthritis, a balance disorder, or any condition your physician is currently managing, please talk to them or a physical therapist before attempting level 2 or level 3. Stay at level 1, supported for as long as you need. There is zero shame in that, remember. The research shows that even partial improvement in this kind of movement is linked to better outcomes. You don't need perfection, you need progress. And if you ever feel sharp, shooting, or joint-specific pain, not muscle fatigue, not a stretch sensation, but actual pain, stop immediately. This routine should challenge you. It should never injure you. Here's how the Okinawans actually make this sustainable. And it's not through a 45-minute workout. It's through frequency woven into daily life. You don't need a gym session. You need microdoses throughout your day. Here's how I want you to apply this. When you pick something up off the floor, a sock, a piece of mail, your phone charger, squat down to get it instead of bending at the waist. When you're brushing your teeth, do 10 shallow squats while you wait for the timer. When you're watching TV tonight, during every commercial break, that's 60 seconds, get down and up off the floor once or twice. This is exactly the pattern researchers observed in Okinawa. It's not a workout, it's a way of moving through life that happens to be one of the best predictors of mobility we have on record. 3 to 4 dedicated sessions a week, plus these little moments sprinkled through your day, and within 4 to 6 weeks, most people notice a real difference. Getting off the floor feels less like an event and more like nothing at all. Let's quickly recap what we covered because I want this to actually stick with you. 1. The sitting rising test isn't just a party trick. Published research has linked it to measurable mortality risk over time. 2. Okinawan centenarians, some of the longest living women on the planet, build hip and joint resilience simply by living a floor-based lifestyle, not by going to the gym. 3. Your hips lose range of motion when you stop using it, but that process is largely reversible with consistent, progressive practice. 4. Start at the level that matches your body today, whether that's supported, assisted, or full depth, and build from there. And 5, consistency in small daily moments beats one long workout a week every single time. Now I want to hear from you because this channel only works when it's a two-way conversation, not me just talking at a camera. In the comments below, tell me your sitting rising test score out of 10. Don't be shy. Half the value of this video is realizing you're not alone in where you're starting from. I read every comment and I'll be replying with personalized tips based on what you share. If this video helped you, hit subscribe because this is exactly the kind of real, research-backed health content I'm building this channel around. No gimmicks, no miracle cures, just what the actual science says, explained by someone who treats real patients. I have more videos coming on hip mobility, pelvic floor health, and longevity habits from other blue zones around the world, and you will not want to miss those. And if you know a woman in your life, your mother, your sister, a friend who spends most of her day sitting and could use this, send her this video right now. This is the kind of thing that's so much easier to start when you're not doing it alone. Before you go, one homework assignment. Tonight, during your very first commercial break or notification scroll, get down on the floor and back up, even using a chair if you need to. That's it. That's the whole assignment. Then come back tomorrow and do it again. I'm Dr. Romalia. I'll see you in the next video, and I'll be looking for your score in the comments.